The 100. Every ball counts for nothing. Right, I don't know if any of you have been watching the World Cup. There are a lot of football fans out there who've been watching the World Cup in America and thinking, bloody hell, what have they done to this game that I love? Hydration breaks, four quarters instead of two halves, stupid half-time shows, cameras panning to the audience to see celebrities, at expense of watching the actual game, idiotic commentary, the list goes on. Well, as cricket fans in England, that's what we've had to put up with for the last few years because of the bloody 100. And I think you'll actually start to kind of feel some sympathy now for us. And at least you still get um, 90 minutes of football. It's not truncated. You still get things are still called, goals, corners, free kicks, etc. Nothing's changed in that respect. We've had a game which has just been radically bastardized, basically, and it's in plain sight. They've moved the game of cricket from a sport to an entertainment, but an entertainment that isn't even very good. So, what are the kind of themes? Why do a lot of people dislike the 100? There's a number of reasons. One, the effect on the English summer, the English both the county and English national side. Two, the effect on smaller counties, the detrimental effect on smaller counties, and three, what a terrible format it is. The overarching theme is the cretinisation of cricket and the move to make cricket an entertainment rather than a sport. It is also the complicity of a lot of the commentators who know full well what's happening, but go along with it because they make a living out of commentating on it. And I would also kind of mention as one of the kind of final points that this has been enabled by both the sinister and the stupid. So I'll come on to all those points throughout this video. So, number one, the effect it has on the English summer. Well, we used to have a summer where Test cricket was played in August. You'd have a touring team come over, uh, two touring teams coming over, maybe three if there's for an ODI series, an exclusive ODI series, um, and this would go from May till about September, um, and it took its time. So I don't know if you think back to when England played South Africa in 1998. When did it start? It started like June, July time, and finished just before September. It wasn't concertinaed into 1 month, right? So that was a normal way things were done. Also, when you play cricket in August, it's good because it's actually sunny in England in August, and people who are off from school, the kids, can watch it. Obviously now cricket's been put behind a paywall in England, and it's not on free to air television anymore. So that's an issue. But kids breaking up from school can actually watch cricket. I know I used to do that when I broke up from school. I'll be watching cricket throughout the summer holidays. Kids now might not be able to do that. Their only option will be to watch this kind of pretend cricket, and they won't really get the same kind of product, if you want to use a kind of business word, that we did as kids. So that's the first thing. So the not only is it bad for the people watching, but it's also bad for the cricket team. So the England cricket team has to play its games, in kind of mid to late September. The county sides have to start in really early April, basically March, and finish in really late September when it's dark and it's wet. There's no light, and people don't want to go. So it really does kind of sabotage what was a traditional English summer in cricket. Now, when people say, rather sinisterly, if that is a word, well, don't worry about it. It's not for you. I remember a very kind of unpleasant person who works for CricViz and the BBC saying that to me. Well, it's not for you. It's very easy for him to say because he makes money from the 100, from commentating on it, or kind of providing statistics for it and providing statistics for franchise teams. But it's missing, or deliberately missing the point. If the 100 was played in March or October, or if it was played concurrently in Mogadishu or something with different players, I'd have no issue with it. It's fine. Do whatever you want. I don't have an issue with the Abu Dhabi T10. It's not a problem to me. But it is replacing or sabotaging the summer. It's detrimentally affecting the counties, detrimentally affecting the actual cricket fans who watch cricket in this country, and the England team. So it's not, well, it's not for you. So what are you bothered about? We're bothered because you're replacing our sport and you're replacing the audience. The 100 is meant for a new type of audience, and it's a kind of polemic. It's driving away the traditional fans. So all they're doing is replacing the traditional fans, one set of fans, with a more transitory group of fans, a kind of, which is a gamble because those fans are people who are just kind of, some of them are football fans who just want to have something to watch in between at the end of one season, the start of the next in football, or in lieu of a night out. Some of them are just people who are kind of at a loose end. Some of them are people who just kind of want to go to an event and shout or look at fireworks. So there's no guarantee these people will stay and watch cricket. So you might end up sabotaging yourself by driving away the core base for these transitory group of people. So that's one thing there. The second issue is the detrimental effect it has on the counties. Smaller counties who don't have a 100 franchise affiliation, who don't have test grounds, will eventually have to merge or go bust. There is no way in a million years they will sustain themselves over the next 20 years, say. No way, no way. They'll just become irrelevant. The more that the 100 is played, the bigger it gets, the more it expands. Uh, uh, Now that it's been sold off to Indian and American firms, the ECB has no control of it. So the more it expands, the greater part of the summer it takes, the less and less relevant these smaller counties are going to be. So if you're a Northants or Leicestershire or a kind of Derbyshire fan, this is really bad news. So in the short term, they got some money from the 100 sale. They all did, apart from Middlesex, where the money went to the MCC. But in the long term, those smaller counties are buggered, and that's it. So these historic counties that have been there, over 100 years, some over 150 years, and that's a part of our history, part of our living history gone. For teams that have just recently changed their name, teams that have only existed about 4 years, and we've had like a couple of name changes already, and are only recognisable by their crisp sponsor. And those teams have now put out of business, a really kind of a living history, which is really sad. And that's obviously really a reason why a lot of people don't like the 100. So just to say to us, well, it's not for you, and we're replacing you, but don't worry, it's not for you. Well, thanks for that. So yeah, that's not really a nice thing to do. Thirdly, the effect it has as regards the actual format. So even if we were to sell out and say, you know what, the counties have been too kind of indolent and inert, and maybe it's time to get with the program. You know what? Maybe international cricket is on its way out anyway. There's going to be a time where the IPL goes on for a number of months. I don't know, 6 or 7 months. There's going to be a time where there's so little international cricket played. It may be like a 2 month window or something where there'll just be World Cups played every few years. It really could be something like that in the future. So in a way, why bother about the number of games England played being reduced. We used to play 7 tests a year. We play 6 now. That's one thing. But why worry about things like that? Because in the end, none of these international games have got as much relevance now, and it's just not a thing anymore. Even if we were to take up on board all those points, it still wouldn't change the fact that the 100 is a really ridiculous format. It's a really useless, stupid format that no one else plays, no one else will play, and there will never be a 100 World Cup because it is so ridiculous. And no amount of nonsense and kind of fake um, build up or pretend excitement from some of the commentators or kind of goofy children's TV reporters, kind of in the guise of commentators, can never change that. It's a ridiculous format. Um, it, they don't even have overs. Um, the players playing it themselves don't really understand it. The reason why kids, or the kids that they were looking for, weren't interested in cricket was not the fact that it was they had overs, that there was 6 ball overs. That was not the reason. That was not the thing putting people off cricket. They didn't think, you know what, I'm put off cricket, but if they change the 6 ball over to a 5 or 10 ball set, then I'm going to love it. I'm really going to be interested in it then. That was not the reason. So that was really unnecessary, really superficial, but in keeping with the ECB. So the format is appalling. I'm sure in the end they'll bring it back to a 20 over competition. I think the ECB just made it the 100 because it sounded cool. They probably got someone to do a survey about it, and some said, "Yeah, that sounds like a cool name. Okay, let's make it 100 balls." So it was just there wasn't much thought into it. I think they wanted something that was kind of a unique selling point. I think because England invented T20 but didn't patent it. That when they saw the success of the IPL, the ECB must have thought, "Bloody hell, we could have made loads of money from this," and so kind of sought to create another format. But the kind of Midas touch left them, and they came up with this nonsense. I suppose what they did come up with was kind of like the IPL, but without the cricket, which kind of defeats the object. So that was it. So when I talk about the sinister and the stupid, these are the two people that really enable or have enabled the 100 to exist. So the sinister are people who are commentators or statisticians who work for it, work making money from the 100, but argue its case as if they're doing something positive, as if it's something good for the game, when really they're just doing that because it's a good career opportunity, which is completely fair enough. But please just say that. If Michael Vaughan were to say, "Look, this is a load of rubbish," but I'm getting paid to commentate on it, you go, okay, that's cool, because we don't know ourselves if we turn down a job like that. But to pretend it's for the good of the game, that's a bit much. Um, so these people are really taking us for fools. And then there's the stupid who really think it's a. And may I say, with the stupid, I am just talking about the adults unaccompanied by kids. Any adult with kids, I'm not talking about at all. Leave those guys out. Leave them out. I'm just talking about the adult men who go to the 100 by themselves or with other adults with like um, replica shirts with hula hoops written on them. Those guys, I don't know what to say about them. I just don't know what to say about them. How on earth can a cricket fan like that? It just beggars belief. I don't know about that. I don't know what the mindset of those people is. Um, I also don't like it when they come in to watch county cricket with those shirts on, especially when it's like they go to Derbyshire or Leicestershire, sides that will be detrimentally affected by the 100, and just sit there with one of their shirts on. I don't like seeing them when they're at Surrey or Middlesex. It's like, well, what are you doing here? You're at the wrong match. I go and play with a firework or something. Yeah, so that those guys, I really have no time for. They're kind of the similar people to the people who got conned by Bazball. That they're people who don't really fully understand cricket. They're not actual cricket fans, and they've kind of jumped on a bandwagon and been quite vociferous about it. Um, but it hasn't really left a good impression. So they facilitate it too. Right, so you're left with uh, a kind of commentary style, which is really children's TV style commentary. Um, so I think they just say to, like, I don't know, Michael Vaughan, come along, bring some white trainers, and tell some jokes. Not those jokes. And then to Phil Tufnell the same, and he says, "I'll do that anyway." And then Alex Hartley, come and interview, a 7-year-old, and it's just like, who's your favourite player? I like Joe Root, and that's it. That's the interview. And then they cut back to the studio. Maybe she might add like a supplementary question, like, "Is he going to score some runs?" Yes, and that's it. That's the interview. It's amazing. You'll see that all from tomorrow. There's hardly any talk about actual cricket. It's almost like they smuggle the cricket in, so it's anything but the actual cricket, to kind of trick you into watching it. The problem with that is, though, that if you're not talking cricket, why are you watching the 100? Because it's not like an entertainment by itself, like, I don't know, watching The Godfather or The Wire or something. I mean, it's just kind of mediocre cricket with kind of children's TV presenters commentating on it. So it's not. You wouldn't think that was an entertainment for someone who didn't like cricket. It's just like, I don't know. It's not cricket enough for people who like cricket, and it's not entertaining enough for people who want to watch a good film or TV program. So it's a funny one, really. You also get, other pundits, maybe someone from. I remember watching a Wisden podcast, and they were kind of mocking the Abu Dhabi T10s after, unironically, uh, previewing or reviewing a 100 match. And you're thinking, how can you do that? How can you do that with a straight face? The hundreds are even more ridiculous than Abu Dhabi T10s. So, that you do question the integrity of a lot of journalists, and whether their careers are so kind of indelibly linked to the 100 that you don't get the proper scrutiny you would get. Um, Similar to, actually, Bazball, where the journalists became client journalists. I think with the 100 it's even worse. Um, so yeah, I think that is another issue. Um, Now, what what kind of is the future with it? Well, I think the 100, unfortunately, will actually get bigger. There'll probably be a few more franchises. I think one good thing is that we'll probably turn into a 20 over competition, which is something. So at least the format will be less ridiculous. Um, but this will mean, I mean, this will go alongside franchise leagues like the APL expanding. And, it doesn't take a genius to work out that at some point, at some point, you will just have a very narrow window for international cricket. And even then, do players care about international cricket that much now anyway? I mean, there was a stage years ago where we used to see this with West Indian and Sri Lankan players, um, prioritising franchise leagues for things like the IPL. It happens now with England players. So it, I think probably only India are immune from that. I mean, we had Archer missing the first New Zealand test this year, even though he was centrally contracted. Still, the IPL still took precedence. So, I mean, this is the way things are going, um, and it doesn't seem like we can kind of get out of it. Unfortunately, we have sold off the game; it's privatized now, and we don't really have any control over the calendar. What is there that can be done about it? Well, not much, unless there's some kind of breakaway, I suppose. Unless there's a breakaway from franchise league, just kind of franchise cricket or short format cricket and Test cricket, a bit like that rugby league meeting. I don't know if you remember that in Huddersfield in the late 19th century, where they split rugby league and rugby union, and you could have a similar split where you split Test cricket and T20 slash franchise league cricket. So that could happen, but the people who decide to play Test cricket know they'll be getting a really significantly lower wage than the ones who play white ball cricket. So I'm not sure how many will do that, although there are a lot of people who are Test specialists. So that's the future. So it's a pretty grim future for people who like um, actual cricket rather than this type of cricket. So yeah, that really kind of wraps up the video. Just remember that every ball counts for nothing. Don't believe the hype.